Hey, what's up, Masters? Welcome to another episode of Path to Mastery podcast. And we are live right now with Mr. Kham Intharath. I'm going to get it. Intharath, right? Am I close?
Intharath. I know.
Oh,
You've always called me by my first name for the long time we've known each other.
It's next level now, so I got to learn your last name, brother, or learn how to say it right. I know how to spell it at least, which is good, but I got to learn how to say it. All right, well, thanks for joining us today, man.
Oh, my pleasure. I always enjoy our conversations.
So we're streaming right now on, let's see, we're on, oh, you know what? I need to actually launch our YouTube. So let's see. Yeah, we're live right now on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, Instagram, LinkedIn. I said LinkedIn already, StreamYard, and Clubhouse, bro, at the same time.
Awesome. Excellent.
I don't think we're missing
the more the merrier.
Yeah, I don't think we're missing anything. So if anybody wants to join us, and you're on any of those sites, you can click on the link and you can drop your questions in the chat. And if you're lucky, maybe we'll even bring you into the stream. How's that sound? All right. So today we're talking about AI and how to close more sales using AI, how to improve your sales process using AI. And we're with an AI expert. I am not going to claim to be an AI expert. I've used it for a little while now. I've used some versions of it, but this guy's the guy you want to listen to. When it comes to sales, absolutely, you want to be listening to me. But Kham, I want to have you introduce yourself. Tell our listeners a little bit about who you are and why am I calling you an expert in AI?
Yeah, so my name is Kham Intharath. I'm the CEO of Compound Effect. We're a network of experts across all different departments for your business, right? When you think about scaling your business, the ecosystem, it's marketing, sales, operations, HR, learning development. So our company has all those experts, and we saw we've always been involved in digital transformation. My expertise is in that marketing, branding, AI and digital transformation space. So even before ChatGPT was a big thing, we were already experimenting and playing around with automations and AI tools to help scale output for our clients and even like marketing and sales departments. So I've been, geeking out and playing around and tinkering with all these different tools to make it easier for our clients when we're making recommendations to vet the real players from the fake, because there's so many tools out there popping up all over the place. It's like the nice, bright, shiny thing. And, we're helping companies really make the right decisions with the right investments, because to partner with the right technology and brands that are safe, but also making sure that you're using it the right way. Because there's also the myth out there that like AI is not that good. Well, it's probably not that good because you're not properly trained on it. Just like a salesperson. Hey, that salesperson's not good. Well, they probably didn't have good training or didn't go through a training with David Hill. So like these are things that we are trying to help just provide AI literacy to upskill all these folks to understand how this is going to impact their role in the future of work.
Yeah, 100%. I know everybody is there's AIs everywhere right now. Everybody's looking for their AI either solution, the way to use it the right way. There's a lot of hacks, I guess, for lack of a better term, out there as well, using it. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, some ways to effectively use it from somebody that's been doing it for a while and somebody that has a proven track record with it, not just trying to figure it out, right? Not just learning prompts on ChatGPT and claiming to be an expert at it. So I'm excited to do this. And so I think most of you know who I am, but I am 36 years in sales. The last 12 years of my life, I've spent teaching other salespeople how to be more effective with sales and how to close sales, how to connect, and ultimately make more money, in whatever, it doesn't matter what you're selling. In my opinion, sales is sales. There's 5 fundamentals to a sales process. We actually have Mike Larkin. I see him. He's in the audience today, and he's a sales master himself. But yeah, I'm excited to have this conversation with you today, Kham. And you and I are working on a project together, which is super exciting. And man, that's why we're doing these podcasts, and we're gonna keep doing them. So do you want to talk a little bit about what we're doing, and we'll kind of toss it back and forth to each other?
Yeah, when we connected, I think we kind of hit it off because we're we complement each other's skill sets, right? And we hear a lot of the same problems that our clients are having. It's like, I don't have good leads. People don't know about our product. I have a horrible time following up with people. I don't have good systems. At the end of the day, everyone's trying to do better at their role. They're not, and most businesses are trying to figure out how to do more sales and be profitable. And a lot of that falls in the two departments of marketing and sales. So when you blend those two together and you actually focus on both of them, not just fixing your sales problem, it's also a marketing problem and vice versa. And that's where I think our synergy together is kind of like that Venn diagram that comes across. And you and I were chatting about like, what is it that you're doing in your trainings? And I said, oh, here's what I'm doing in my trainings. But then if you layer an AI across both of these, we're going to amplify and accelerate productivity. And then I was actually showing you like, here's how you can use it right now. And I think you were blown away on just the short time on a few use cases. Imagine if someone actually took the time and due diligence to like build out proper. There's fundamentals, right? Because some people are still missing and forgetting the fundamentals of like marketing and sales. But then if you elevate that to more advanced level, still, traditional, but advanced level, and then you weave in that special sauce or sparkle of AI, it's unstoppable. And those folks who are embracing that now and know how to use that now, they're seeing huge productivity gains. So where some of the feedback we're hearing is 10 hours a week a person is saving on repetitive tasks. I had a marketing department save about 2 weeks a month launching a campaign. So if you have that more time in your day and you're not bogged down doing tedious stuff, imagine how more productive that salesperson is. But also from a mental state, they're not going into work negative or opening up their laptop like stressing out. We're seeing also from feedback from leaders in HR departments saying like, culturally their people are a lot more happier now because the AI is actually helping them, relieve pressures in their jobs because they're focusing on things that they should be focusing on more as a human.
Yeah, that's a huge one. How can we use it to leverage what we do? How can we use it to get rid of the tasks that we probably shouldn't be doing, or we could be giving to someone else for a lot less money than we get paid for what we do, right? Like it's not the highest and best use of my time, as well as the ability to literally clone yourself in a lot of ways and replicate what you do. And that's what I want to share this. I'm going to share this slide right here, which is really my 5-step fundamental sales process. And I'm going to go through it super quick. And then we're going to kind of share with you how we're using AI to improve on and also leverage in each step. And where at the end of the day, you may not even have a conversation with somebody until step 3 or 4, right? And when they're further along, ready. So step 1, connecting. It's about connecting. So we're using tools. And you know what? Why don't we do this? I'll toss it back. We'll toss it back and forth. But the step of connecting is really connecting with people through email, through phone, through SMS, through ads on social media, right? Even in person. And the goal of meeting somebody is to put at the end of the day, it's to make someone feel comfortable, right? But also put them at ease. I learned that from Grant Cardone. I'll give him the credit with the put him at ease, because I love that. At the end of the day, fundamentally, you want to figure out how to put people at ease with you. And if people become at ease with you, then they'll move forward with you. They'll listen to you. You can get to the next steps with them. Calm. The challenge is what some people are doing now with AI is not putting people at ease by any means. And I don't think they know how, right? And listen, at least they're trying. At least they're trying to do something. So I'll give them that credit. But let's talk about step 1 with connecting. How do we give our listeners some ideas? Like, hey, here's some of the things that we're gonna do now with this let's say top of the funnel connection point.
Now, when you're connecting, I think SDRs, right, sales development reps, they're doing a lot of outbound calls, emails, maybe texts. Let's use LinkedIn for an example. A lot of people are using LinkedIn DM, right? When LinkedIn DM can be annoying. You can tell when it's AI generated. No different than email marketing. You can tell we're annoyed with email marketing. You can also tell when it's AI generated. But if you do email properly and right, it can sound and be not annoying if you do it right. And that comes with the right training, the right frameworks, guardrails. It's the same thing with the AI. When you're
Now,
using
hold on.
AI,
You said if you do it right, it can sound annoying? Like, right? Or did you mean to say if you do it wrong, it can sound annoying?
I'm sorry, if you do it right, it won't sound annoying. It won't
Yeah,
be
yeah.
it'll be
Okay,
more
got it. Yeah, I
receptive.
think you said it backwards. I was
Yeah.
wondering if I was confused for a minute. All right, got
Thank
it.
you. Thank you.
I know it's been a long day, bro. It's good. It's Friday.
It is Friday. It's the end of the day here. But email marketing works, right? LinkedIn DM works. But then like what happens is now you don't want to get bucketed into like, oh, this is an annoying message again. But with AI, there are tools out there, for example, like that can, let's say for LinkedIn, it can look at who you're going to speak to. Let's say you create a list, and then you can ask it to segment the different lists that you have, right? So people have, let's say if they have a big email list, and say this is my target audience, this is my ICP, my ideal client profile that I'm going after. This is why I'm going after them. And let's say this 100 lists gets culled down now to like maybe like 635, but then take it even further. Of those 635s, it identifies personality traits. Like think of it like a DISC assessment, right? And because it's looking at how that person is, how they type, how they engage, what their cadence and tone is on LinkedIn. So now it like in sales, you mirror that person, right, in conversation. So it does that. It's going to mirror that conversation and be relatable to that person when it reaches out. So it really personalizes this. This is all the AI doing that for you.
So something that clicked, and every time we have these conversations, things click. So the reason I'm really, really good on like I built a real estate company, worked my way up to being in the top 100 agents at a company with 150,000 agents. Okay. And I did it through cold calling. But you know what? I practiced 15 years on calls, 15 years, bro, cold calling. And probably 10 of the years I wasn't that great. Right. But then all of a sudden I started getting it. And you know what I started getting is what you were talking about. As soon as somebody answers the phone, I can pick up on this person's like tonality, their behavior. Right. Are they a fast-paced person? Are they slow? Are they a relation? Like you start to capture that because the more calls you make. And the wild thing about it now is AI, it doesn't need 15 years, right? Like the right programming, it can do that right out of the gate for you.
Correct. We're also seeing AI getting so advanced where from an EQ standpoint, right? Like emotional intelligence, that is going to bring it to a whole nother level. It's there's a site now. It's called Hume, HUME .ai. You guys check it out. You can
Write this
test them.
down.
HUME.ai. They are researching. They're a lab that does emotional intelligence for AI and multimodal. So we're going to start to see these types of companies partner with others and start underlaying, right, to kind of really make it as realistic as possible, the conversations, but also coaching a sales rep on how to just really upskill what they're doing when it comes to communication.
You know something I did, and I want to do it again. I did it about a month and a half ago. Is I had ChatGPT interview me for a podcast, and it was pretty awesome. Like I'll be honest, I've been interviewed for a lot of podcasts, and I feel like ChatGPT might have done a better job than most. I mean, there was the challenge though. Really, there was no connection, right? It was good. It were definitely good questions, but at the end of the day, there really was no connection, right? It's not like I left and said, "Oh my gosh, I feel like I have a new friend." That wasn't there. I don't know that will that ever be there.
That's what I'm implying to, David. Like that site that I just mentioned, that it's gonna feel like it has emotion, but of course it doesn't have emotion, right? It's AI, but it's gonna mimic and simulate that, which is really the next level that it's coming down the pipeline.
All right. I want to jump to step 2, but but also I know we're going to open it up for questions. We do have a hard stop. We have about 18 minutes left. So maybe 10 minutes, I'll open it up. I see Mike's in here. So Mike, hang out. We'll definitely get you in and we'll get a question. If anybody else wants to ask a question, there's a link. Looks like we got a bunch of people. We got 8 people sitting right in here listening, and I'm not sure how many other hundreds are out there. But if anybody wants to join us live, just click on that link, come in, and if we'll do our best to get to the questions. All right. Step 2 now. Let me share this slide. again is going to be right here. Qualify. Okay, so step 2, qualify. So second step in the sales process is qualifying, where we're going to dig deep into motivations, into goals to determine if this is a good person that we want to invest time with right now, right? Because I think one of the challenges, especially with maybe newer salespeople, is spending time on unqualified or unmotivated leads. So how do we use AI to improve on in this area, as well as the qualifying itself, right? Asking deeper, better, more meaningful questions.
Yep. Most sales organizations will have some type of call script. They'll have a framework and all kind of like non-negotiables, right? You got to at least understand the budget, understand the scope, maybe the timeline. So if these are parameters that salespeople need to have before they are 100% sure that they're fully qualified before they move to the next level, imagine now this future world, or actually current, you can do this now. You can put the parameters in. The AI is actually on the call with you as an assistant. No, but the person who you're on with doesn't know that. Think of it like on a Zoom call on the screen on the side. You see it live, and as you're having the conversation, it's giving you insights on the cadence, the nuance. If you're actually losing them a little bit on the call, it's kind of telling you to slow down, because I know for me, I'm a fast talker. That's something I'm always working on. Hey, slow down. You're using too many filler words. Oh, by the way, don't forget, you got to ask these other 2 qualifying questions. So live, think of this like coach. You have your personal Yoda right here next to you, live, giving you insight and advice, so that when you can close and qualify that deal. And I'm sure a lot of salespeople regret a lot of calls after, like, oh my goodness, I forgot to ask that question, or oh, I could have said that better, or actually, did I say that wrong? Or so like these are things that can be avoided now with some tools out there. Here are a couple that I can list. Like one's called like Just Call, another one's called Abstract. So these are tools that in real time are giving you cues and actionable insights.
Man, I'll tell you, 20 years ago, I wish I had had this stuff in front of me, right? Well, and it's interesting because there's always been like these dialers that you can, and this has been for 10, 15 years, maybe longer, is that you log into a dialer and it pops up a script in front of you. So that's existed, but that's not what we're talking about right here. We're talking about actual artificial intelligence listening in on the conversation, prompting us, picking up on cues that some salespeople may miss. Like that's the difference between a white belt and a black belt, is the picking up on those cues. Yeah. What were you going to say?
I was gonna say, I wish like they had this thing live where as I'm talking to my wife, it's giving me cues on like how to how to negotiate way to certain things and maybe help winning a conversation, right? So like that might be the next future tool, David.
All right, let's jump to the next step, and then I want to make sure I get us into a couple questions as well. So number 3 is present. So this is a step where we are delivering a compelling presentation based on what we know, based on what we got from the first 2 steps. And this is also helping us determine if this is the step where we close, or maybe we miss something and it needs follow-up because they're just not ready to move into the close process yet, right? Although I am still always a fan of going for the close, and I believe if you do your pre-qual right, you probably wouldn't end up in the presentation or a demonstration with somebody that's not ready, but it does happen. It does happen. So talk about the presentation. I've got so many exciting things when it comes to the presentation where we can use. I mean, right now I have AI like you. So I have people posting webinars for me and talking about webinars we have coming up. You don't even realize that it's an AI person talking to you about our webinar. I mean, it's super, super cool. But what else do we got going on when it comes to presentation?
Oftentimes people, they have their like templates, right? And they're trying to like, okay, how do I kind of customize this, personalize this after I have my call? So I look at my notes and like, okay, this is the pain points and here's how we're going to position it. You can use the AI to like take your notes and say, here's my deck, like upload your deck. And it's like, how can I make it better? So it can give you feedback on your deck. It can even make suggestions on the graphic work to put on there. It might say, oh, also add a case study. Then take it even further. Say, now that the deck's all done, you say, okay, let's role play this. So the AI can speak to you. You can role play with the AI and say, ask me some objections that you think I might not be aware about. Or you can say, here's an objection I think they might bring up. Can you prepare me for it? Let's role play it. So now you're fully prepared with this presentation, and it's also helping you uncover maybe some blind spots you're not aware about.
You see here in the chat, we have something that says on air viewer, Hume, www.hume.ai. Did you put that there? Or
yeah, I dropped that
oh,
in for folks to find that EQ AI.
Got it. Okay. Okay, cool. All right. Let me go back to this. We're going to go into the close, and then we're going to open it up for a couple questions. So next step is closing, right? So this is where, you know, I'll be honest, this is where a lot of salespeople miss it. You know, they don't have the confidence to ask. Maybe they're not 100% sold themselves. They don't read cues. They don't pick up on the right cues when it's time to close. Maybe they miss the close. They're not asking the right questions. And like you just talked about, they're not clear on the objections they're going to get before they even show up. I want to set our people up so that when they get to they're confident. They're waiting for the closing process. Calm. They're not scared to close, but they're excited to get to that step. What are your thoughts on that?
Even the best closers sometimes have an off day. So what I said earlier, like having this assistant next to you live and hearing like, okay, maybe someone's bringing up objections and you weren't prepared for it. Now this live assistant is say, oh, say this or ask that or bring this up. You know, another thing that oftentimes might happen is say like, can you show me this? Or let's say if they're in technology, they're a SaaS company and the product expert is not on the call with the salesperson. Now you feel like, oh, that's a good question. Let me go back to my product expert. So like time kills deals, right? But if this AI is tied into your organization and understands all your products, all your information, the FAQs, all that stuff, it can give real live information right next to you and answer that question on your behalf. So now you're not waiting to go back and close the deal because you have to involve more people. It's all there at your fingertips.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this presentation should be 3 hours long. We're doing right. And we have a course that we're rolling out. Super exciting for everybody. Specifically, especially I should say for Massachusetts business owners, right? Because we have a grant that covers our course. I want to talk about that. I'm not going to go into follow up right now. Besides, I want to let you know that 80% of your sales will come as a result of follow up, and you really need to position yourself that your position to follow up at least 12 times without being pushy, aggressive, annoying, and any of that stuff. And I know how to do that because I've been doing it a long time. And we have an AI system that we will literally like build that out for you, tell you what to say, when to call, how to say it, like the whole deal. And here's some of the good news is a lot of it, you don't even have to do anything. Just set it, right? Set it to automate it and it'll handle it for you. So just remember, and when we come back, we'll be back next week with another one of these and we're going to go deeper on all these 5 steps. But I want to toss it over to Mike. Mike Larkin, good to see you, man. Can't hear you. You're muted. Let's see. He may not. I don't know. Are you able to unmute, or let me see if can I unmute you? Can't unmute your guests because they chose to mute themselves. All right. Well, it doesn't look like it's letting us unmute you, brother. So if you can figure that out, then handle it. Otherwise, I'm going to toss it back over to you, Com. So, Com, here's something that happened earlier today. I want to get your thoughts on this. Okay. No idea what you're going to say. So I was talking to
Mike's ready. Look like he unmuted.
Oh, okay. All right, good. All right.
I finally found that. Hey, I love your step 1 through 5. Just as I've been listening on Clubhouse, I'm always learning. Somebody told me about step 0. And step 0 is your attitude. What is your attitude about AI? Oh God, I got to learn something new. But you're never going to learn anything new. You're just going to, be that person that blocks it off. So think about the first time you used AI. It's like, what is this thing? And all of a sudden you press send or enter. And all of a sudden it started belting out all this like dialogue or scripts or whatever you asked it to do. Now take it a couple of months into the future where we are now. Well, where we are now is you can look up your keywords in your business and your locality and find out who is Google ranking from 1 to 10 on the first page, and where are you and how do you get there. And that's when the rubber hits the road. Is that's emerging right now as we speak. Now fast forward another 6 months, looking back on today, this is the day it starts with Con and David. Listen really closely to these guys because they've got it going on. And if you're just sitting on the fence, get off the fence.
Yeah, get off the fence and on the bus, whether buying or selling. It starts with us. That was my old BNI intro com. Remember BNI? Yeah, if you ever did back in the day, I had that for years. All right. Thank you, Mike, for that. You're right.
Awesome, man. Thanks, Mike.
Talk about, you want to talk anything about the keywords? Well, you know, and I do have this thing. I want to make sure I get this in. So, I was talking earlier today, and I'll let you both elaborate on it if you want, if we have time. We got 6 minutes. Talking to she's in charge of sales, right? Whatever that means at her company. I'm not going to say the company. So Massachusetts business. They have, I think it's about 75 employees. We've been talking for a while. And so I reached out to her today. We're supposed to get on the budget, our training on the budget for the next year. And she said, you know what? The priorities have changed. Unfortunately, we're going to spend, so we want to talk to you again in Q3 of next year because we want to focus on employee retention. And I said, employee retention, what better way to have more employee retention than to increase sales? Like that was my immediate response. Like I literally laughed. I didn't hope I didn't offend her or anything, but like that means you need sales, like everything. So, you know, more employees are happier. They make more money. Right. So I don't know. She didn't seem like she was too enthused by what I was saying. She just didn't get it. Am I off base, Com, or what are your thoughts on that?
It's tough. I wasn't there. There's missing context, right? So we don't know, like for her, retention could be maybe they're just having some culture issues. It has nothing to do with sales. So there's a lot of things that are variables there. So I can't answer that. But if she was like, say, had intentions to do sales and that was a pain point for their company, and then there was a shift to like retention, I think there's almost there's an underlying issue there that's like compounding over there that that you have to figure out. But if sales can be a question I probably would have asked, like if you guys can increase sales, would that help your retention focus?
Yeah.
If she said no, then obviously it's something that you can't control. It's not on you.
Well, I think that the challenge is that she doesn't. I don't know that she actually. Maybe she. You know what I'm thinking as I kind of talk to you is maybe I'm talking to the wrong person. Because at the end of the day, she was clueless. And the last time we spoke, sales was down, business was low. There was a you know what I mean? People were probably leaving, and sometimes people leave. Why do they leave? Because they're not making money. They're not happy. And I said that to her. I said, when people are making money, they're typically happier. Not always, but for the most part, it's a good prerequisite to having good culture and people being happy, right? Everybody's making money, business is good, positive energy. And that starts with sales a lot of times, or I'd say most times, all times. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I think that the economy is based on sales. Without sales, without economy, we're run by the government. I mean, so for somebody to tell me that is somebody that's never been in the position of having sold anything in their life. It's maybe they're service oriented, right? Sure. So to go back to Con's thing, maybe they don't have that mentality of us saying, this world is based on sales, whether it's any category of your life, it's you're being sold on something or you're selling something.
Yeah, serve it. I like that though. I mean, I think, and I agree with it. And listen, I'm not saying they're bad. She's wrong. It just was a conversation I had earlier that just kind of clicked, like, okay, a lot of people need what we have. And then I mentioned what we're doing with the AI, and she's, oh yeah, well, yeah, right now we really just want to focus on retention. So I think for me, as I'm thinking through this, maybe I'm not even talking to the right person is kind of what clicked. I've got to go higher up the food chain is what clicked for me on this conversation. And I probably should have picked up on that earlier as a professional.
Well, it depends if she was the one that was the first outreach, right? And she was kind of like,
well, she was given to me by some other people, and I spent some time with her last year, and I followed up like she told me to for October. And now she's like, well, we got to put that off a year because we're focused on retention. So
yeah, she was your point of contact for a while. You guys have some rapport, but most times, right, there's always that person behind the scenes who's another stakeholder that we need to identify. And
well, here's a cue for all you salespeople out there listening, and then we got to wrap it up. So when I got her on the phone, she answered the phone, and I was like, "Oh, hey, how are you? It's David Hill from Path to Mastery." And I got the pause. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the pause is like, oh,
the pregnant pause.
Right? So for what, I don't ignore that. Like personally, I said, oh, did I get you to bad times? Oh, no. Oh, okay, cool. So are you not excited to hear from? I say it as a joke. Are you not? No, it's not that. Cause I want to make it real, right? Like I listen to that stuff. Like a lot of salespeople will just ignore that and keep going. So now we're in a real conversation. A real conversation about what's happening. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. Let's get some closing thoughts because we do have a hard stop today. Com, what are your thoughts on today's conversation? And we're going to do this again next week.
If you're a salesperson and you're just waiting or you're listening to all the myths out there, like stop. Go out there and experiment it for yourself. Sometimes people might say it worked for them this way, but they might have prompted it differently. They might have used it differently. So then you go do it. You didn't have the right training on how to use the AI tool, and it comes out different. So don't be in despair. Go and try it and use it again. And again, these aren't going away. So I like to say this quote, if you are a salesperson using AI, you're going to replace a salesperson who's not. If you're a teacher using AI, you got to replace another teacher that's not. It's you can literally insert any position there because that's the reality of it. It's take that competitive advantage, but also be curious. And it's really it's okay to be uncomfortable during this. But if you're uncomfortable, you're growing. So
absolutely. Tell us the best way to get in touch with you.
LinkedIn, Com Intharath. You guys can find me on LinkedIn. That's the best way to kind of connect with me there, or visit my website at getcompoundeffect.com.
All right, awesome. And Michael, thank you as well for popping in. We appreciate it. We'll be back next week. We'll have some more time next week. We really want to get these up to about 45 minutes and then 15 minutes for Q&A. So about a 60-minute session. We're going to keep going. So thank you guys for joining us. If you want to get more information on what we're up to, everything is on my link tree. Just go to davidhill.link and you'll have access to everything I'm doing, our webinars. We have a course that's coming up and my podcast, everything's there. So that said, thank you guys so much for being here.
Thanks.
Com, again, pleasure, my man.
Pleasure.
Mike, thank you for adding to the webinar today. We appreciate that. And we'll see you guys soon.